explanation of HVAC plant of India's biggest mall. This mall is under construction and this is the HVAC plant of this mall, as you can see here. The first thing which start in a HVAC plant is cooling tower. As you can see here, these are the cooling towers and we have used 24 cooling tower, each of 750 TR. As you can see here, these are the inlet and outlet pipes of the cooling towers, and I am going to explain you the working of cooling tower in details. The hot water from the condenser comes to cooling tower and the water gets cool and it is again sent back to the condenser for cooling of condenser refrigerant. As you can see here, this is the cooling tower. I am going to explain you about this plant in theoretical as well as practical. Before going with detailed explanation, first of all I am going to explain you about the parts we are using in this HVAC plant. So we are using 5 chillers of 750 TR. These are the chillers and we are using 5 chillers of 750 TR. We are using 6 condenser pumps, each of 90 kilowatt. So here you can see these are condenser pumps, 6 condenser pumps each of 90 kilowatt, right? After that we are using primary pump of 55 kilowatt each. These are also 6 each. After that we are using 6 secondary pumps, each of 110 kilowatt. These are the secondary pumps and these are of 110 kilowatt each. Okay. Also we are using 24 cooling towers, each of 7.5 kilowatt. I have drawn here 5 cooling tower only as there was no space left over here. Here you can see these are the 6 condenser pumps which are used for pumping the cool water from the cooling tower to condenser for cooling of refrigerant of condenser. As you can see here, this one is a big yellow pipe coming from the cooling tower. This pipe carries a cool water from the cooling tower, and with the help of this condenser pump, a cool water is pumped into the condenser. As you can see here, we have used 6 condenser pump, each pump and of 90 kilowatt for pumping of cool water from the cooling tower into the condenser. These are the details of the motor plate. As you can see here, this one is a 90 kilowatt 12.5 HP 50 Hz motor. Before proceeding further, let's learn about working of this part only. Here you can see we have condenser pump and a cooling tower. So red line means hot water and blue lines means cool water. So as you can see here, the cool water from the cooling tower is pumped into condenser with the help of condenser pump. So here you can see the cool water from all these cooling towers enters this condenser pump and this water is pumped to the condenser, as you can see here. After the pumping of cool water into the condenser, the heat exchange takes place between the cool water and the condenser refrigerant. After that the water gets heated up and the refrigerant gets cool, and the heated water is again transferred to the cooling tower, as you can see here. Again the hot water is cooled in the cooling tower and this cool water is transferred to condenser with the help of these condenser pumps. Each pump is of 90 kilowatt and we have used 6 condenser pumps. This pipe is coming from the output of the 6 condenser pump, which carries a cool water from the output of 6 condenser pump. This cool water is from a cooling tower and it is sent to the condenser. As you can see here, the yellow pipe at the back side of the condenser here, and it pumps the cool water into the condenser for cooling of condenser refrigerant. So we have used 5 condenser and chiller units. This one is a compact unit which contains 5 condenser, 5 chiller and a compressor. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 chiller and condenser compact units. This one is a condenser, this one is a chiller, and this one is a cooling tower here and a condenser pump for pumping of cool water into this condenser, and this one is a compressor and a motor for compressing of refrigerant in the condenser. So now let's begin the working of it. The cool refrigerant from the condenser is present in the shell type. So here you can see this section is a shell type. As you can see here, this section is a shell type, and here you can see this one is a tube and this one is a tube type. So the refrigerant in condenser is present in the shell type and the water from the cooling tower is present in the tube type. Okay, the cool water from the cooling tower is sent to this condenser pump, and from this condenser pump the cool water is pumped into the condenser, as you can see here. So the cool water is present in the tube type and the refrigerant of the condenser is present in the shell type, as you can see here. So there is a heat exchange take place between the refrigerant and the cool water. So after the heat exchange takes place, the refrigerant gets cooled down and there will be a rise in temperature of the cool water. After this cool water gets heated up, it is again then transferred to the cooling tower for cooling of this water. As you can see here, this one is a red line and this means the hot water is transferred to this cooling tower for cooling of this hot water. Then again this water is cooled down and again it is sent to this condenser pump, and again the cool water is sent to the condenser for the cooling of refrigerant. Coming to the chiller, as you can see here, the refrigerant is present in the tube type. Okay, this refrigerant which was present in the shell type in the condenser, it is now present in the tube type. As you can see here, the refrigerant is getting transferred from here and with the help of expansion valve to the tube type of the chiller. Okay, and the water is present in the shell type of the chiller. Okay, the water which is used for cooling of the entire building is present in the shell type of the chiller. As you can see here, the water in the chiller shell side gets cooled down due to the heat transfer between the water in the chiller shell side and the refrigerant in the chiller tube side. Okay, so the refrigerant, after rise in temperature due to the heat transfer, is sent back to the compressor. As you can see here, it is sent back to the compressor. So the hot refrigerant is again sent back to the temperature after heat transfer. The compressor again compresses the high temperature refrigerant and send it to the condenser, as you can see here, and send it to the condenser for cooling of refrigerant, where heat exchange takes place between the refrigerant and the cool water of the cooling tower. So here you can see the heat exchange takes place in the condenser between the refrigerant present in the shell type and the cooling water present in the tube type, whereas in chiller the refrigerant is present in tube type and the cooling water of the entire building is present in the shell type. So the heat exchange in the chiller takes place between the refrigerant in the tube type and the water in the shell type. Okay,
so here we have a primary pump after a condenser pump, and these primary pumps are each of 55 kilowatt, and we have used 6 primary pumps here for pumping of water, hot water from the building. And after proceeding further, here you can see these are secondary pumps each of 110 kilowatt for pumping of cool water into the building. As you can see here, you can see there are 2 pipes, and the left pipe which is coming out from the chiller, it carries a cool water. This pipe sends a cool water from the chiller to the 6 secondary pumps. So with the help of these 6 secondary pumps, the cool water is circulated to the entire building for cooling of air of this building. So this each pump is of 110 kilowatt.
the chill water from the chiller, as you can see here, is sent to the secondary pump of 110 kilowatt each. Here we are using 6 secondary pumps of 110 kilowatt. From the secondary pump, the water is circulated to the entire building for cooling. So this is a 7th floor building, and after cooling of air of this building, the water gets heated up, and this high temperature water is again pumped back with the help of primary pump. As you can see here, with the help of primary pump, and is again sent back to the chiller. As you can see here, so this high temperature water is pumped back with the help of this primary pump and sent back to the chiller for cooling. As you can see here,
after cooling the air of the entire building, the cool water gets heated up, and this hot water is pumped back with the help of these 6 primary pumps of 55 kilowatt. As you can see here, the pipe here, and with the help of this pipe, the water is pumped back. Here you can see a big white color pipe coming from the output of the 6 primary pumps, and this carries a hot water, and this hot water is sent back to the chiller for cooling. As you can see here, the right pipe over here coming from the top, and this carries a hot water. This hot water is sent onto the chiller for cooling of this hot water.
So this is how the HVAC plant works, friends. And thanks for watching this video, guys. Hope you have liked this video. Share this video with your friends who are doing mechanical and electrical engineering. Thanks for watching this video, friends.